This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
The number of people killed as a result of the Israeli incursion east of Khan Yunis in the Gaza Strip has increased to 4. The Israeli army, backed by several tanks and armored military vehicles, carried out an incursion in the area east of Khan Yunis amidst gunfire and helicopter cover.
In the early morning hours, these armored military vehicles began an incursion in the Abbasan area east of Khan Yunis. Naturally, this incursion was backed by air cover, and special units raided and occupied homes close to the borders in order to monitor members of the resistance. Citizens confirmed that tens of young men were arrested. Some of them were interrogated on the scene, and others were transferred to Israeli positions. Meanwhile, resistance fighters continued to confront them.
We don't know what to do. Where should we go? There is fear and terror. I am the adult. I am the mother. I am tired and I get scared. What if I broke down? How would my kids feel?
Many Palestinians were killed or wounded in an operation that was described as big. Residents confirmed that there was no justification for such an operation.
I'm always looking out the window in front of me. I saw something explode. I saw smoke, dirt, stones, and legs, and boots. People were being torn apart. It was shocking. And 4 young men were bleeding. They took them away.
This young child is told that the sounds of the strong explosives she hears are just fireworks. However, after she witnessed what happened, she learned that fireworks tear people apart, kill, and cause bloodshed.
I am afraid of the Jews. I am only afraid of the Jews.
This is how these children, who are besieged inside their home, try to cope with their complicated reality. Israel knows well that its military operation will not stop the launching of missiles. Thus, the only justification left is to take advantage of political divisions among the Palestinians in order to put more pressure on the besieged Gaza Strip.
أكد الدكتور حسن خريشة النائب الثاني لرئيس المجلس التشريعي الفلسطيني على أهمية.
The second vice president of the Palestinian Legislative Council, Dr. Hassan Khreisha, called for the formation of a third political party that does not rely on foreign aid or the assistance of non-governmental organizations. Khreisha said that such party will represent the silent majority of the Palestinian people, which is not part of the ongoing internal dispute. He added that this will help form a popular front to thwart attempts that undermine the Palestinian plight, as well as help unite and heal the nation.
في حالة هي الأولى من نوعها بعدما حصل في قطاع غزة.
In an unprecedented move following Hamas's takeover of Gaza, some called for the creation of a third political bloc or party in the Palestinian national spectrum. This party would represent the silent majority of the Palestinian people and those outside Hamas and Fatah spheres of influence. The majority of people we talked to, including those who haven't taken part in the internal division, expressed support for the idea of a third coalition, hoping that it helps end the political crisis in the Palestinian territories.
I support the formation of a new party that will attract members from both sides, Hamas and Fatah. However, the new party must learn from their mistakes.
I hope that the new party or coalition, if formed, will learn a lesson from the mistakes of the Palestine National Liberation Movement, Fatah and Hamas.
الشارع الفلسطيني أبدى دعمه لهذا الحزب أو المشروع.
The Palestinian public, which expressed frustration over the political crisis caused by the internal division, welcomed the idea of creating a new coalition or bloc. Many Palestinians hope that the new party will help form a popular front that is able to thwart attempts to undermine the Palestinian plight, as well as help heal and unite the nation and protect its fundamental principles.
The new party must bring with it a new purpose, especially with regard to Palestinian national issues. The political compass has recently been diverted from its correct direction, declaring our national plight clinically dead.
The Palestinian political crisis was the focus of discussion among leaders from the political, economic, cultural, and civic institutions, with some calling for the formation of an alternative party to Hamas and Fatah. The idea of the new party was sponsored in part by a group of prominent businessmen who might only want to protect their large investments. It was the outcome of a series of meetings between various community and political groups which seem not to have much in common except for some general issues.
Certainly, the new party or organization must adopt a clear agenda and a political revelation that addresses the political concern of the Palestinian people. In addition, it must be able to mobilize the Palestinian people and their plight, which has been declared clinically dead, especially in light of the internal fighting and isolation.
The political crisis between Hamas and Fatah has led to a discussion over the formation of a new political party. This party must be able to bring back legitimacy to the Palestinian national plight and keep it out of danger. For Madar program, Walid Abdul Rahman, Abu Dhabi Channel, Gaza.
More than 2,500 families were evacuated from the villages in the state of Sinar, in the heart of Sudan, due to heavy rains and high water levels in the Nile River. The Sudanese government said that the situation is currently under control following the evacuation, but the afflicted people suffer from lack of humanitarian supplies.
The camp that was built to receive the afflicted and those who were displaced by the floods and heavy rains is hidden under the cover of the night. However, this cover could not hide the suffering of Haja Aziza. She has been offering plates of food for people to buy, hoping that she can earn enough money to send her children to school and rebuild the part of her home which was destroyed by the rain in the outskirts of Sinar.
Our homes collapsed. We all have children, but I am especially vulnerable because I am a widow. I have 7 children. Some of them are going to school. We have suffered a lot because our homes collapsed. May God help us. The Sudanese army is not obliged to help us.
Other women are also suffering like Aziza. Some of them are searching for a space in the camp to protect their children from mosquitoes. Others gave up and decided to simply settle down. They can't do anything about the situation which the Sudanese government failed to contain.
We are suffering a lot from mosquitoes. We are concerned the most about the mosquitoes because they can cause malaria and other diseases.
Heavy rains and floods have swept many villages in Sinar. Hundreds of families lost their homes and were forced to live under plastic tents. The Sudanese people may suffer the consequences of this crisis for a long time. The Sudanese authorities said that Sinar has never witnessed such heavy rains. The floods had cut off roads that link many areas in the heart of Sudan. What people are concerned about here are the high levels of water in the Blue River. Villages near the banks of this river are threatened with further floods.
The heavy rains have affected 2,500 families in many villages and neighborhoods. Thank God all these families have been provided with shelter.
وبحمد الله تم إيواءهم إيواء كاملا.
The shelters that were provided by the Disaster Prevention Committee in Sinar have enabled the afflicted people to start planting near their villages. They hope that this will help them overcome their crisis, which may last for a long time. Alo Fares, Al Jazeera, Singa, in Sinar State, in the heart of Sudan.
عادل فارس الجزيرة سنجة بولاية سنار وسط السودان.
Another meeting was held in Iraq to resolve an old crisis. This news comes after senior Iraqi officials met to lay the groundwork for a new summit aimed at ending a political crisis in the Iraqi parliament, where the Sunni Arabs are demanding a larger representation in al-Maliki's government. Meanwhile, al-Maliki's national unity government is facing the worst political crisis since it was formed in May 2006. The main Sunni bloc and several ministers loyal to Shia leader Muqtada al-Sadr had withdrawn from his government. In addition, several ministers continue to boycott all government and parliament sessions. Faiza Alak reports.
While senior Iraqi politicians held a session in Baghdad to discuss their differences, the Iraqi people did not have high hopes for it. Many believe that this meeting will not be any different from previous ones.
This meeting reminds me of an old proverb. Arabs have agreed to disagree. This applies to Iraqi politicians as well. They have agreed to disagree. However, I hope that they will implement what they have discussed.
This meeting, which intends to narrow the political gap between Iraqi rivals from all sects, was called for by Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, who has been trying hard to save his embattled government. Meanwhile, security was the main concern in the Iraqi streets, where some hope that this meeting will bring positive results.
Since the collapse of the former regime, hundreds of meetings have been held, and not one of them has been fruitful. In fact, the situation has become worse, especially in the light of the internal division. Iraq's political groups will not hold a meeting unless it's within their personal interests.
Amidst a state of despair, many Iraqis have given up on their political leaders. Meanwhile, the showdown continues in the Iraqi parliament, where some political blocs demanded a larger share of authority. This news comes amidst the sound of wailing that continues to echo in every Iraqi home, regardless of its sect or ethnicity.
The Iraqi National Security Advisor, Muwaffaq al-Rubai, accompanied by senior security officials, are in an official visit to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan.
Al-Rubai will talk to Jordanian officials about intelligence and security cooperation between the two countries.
The senior delegates from the Iraqi security and intelligence agencies, headed by the National Security Advisor Muwaffaq al-Rubai, arrived at the Jordanian capital of Amman. The objective of the visit is to strengthen bilateral relations and help Jordan get funds to accommodate the 700,000 Iraqi refugees who live there. The Jordanian and Iraqi delegates studied the possibility of providing Jordan with Iraqi oil in exchange for taking care of the Iraqi refugees in Jordan.
We want to talk about ways to support the Iraqi refugees in Jordan and ease their suffering. We want the Jordanian government to provide them with medical and educational services and make it possible for them to stay legally in the country. We also want the Jordanian government to make it easy for Iraqis to get visas to travel to Jordan and create job opportunities for Iraqi refugees living there. We also want to express our dismay at the fact that some Iraqis are treated very badly by some of the Jordanian government agencies.
دوائر وبعض زوايا في الأردن.
هذه الزيارة بوفد أمني سياسي على مستوى عالي.
Senior officials from the Iraqi security agencies were invited to visit Amman by our Jordanian brothers. We talked about many political issues and ways to improve bilateral relations and increase cooperation at the international level.
بين الأردن والعراق في المحافل العربية والدولية.
الجالية العراقية المتواجدة في عمان.
The Iraqi refugees in Jordan are watching this visit very closely. They have been suffering here for a long time due to the lack of medical and educational services. The International Conference on Iraqi Refugees, which was held in Amman last month, recommended helping countries hosting Iraqi refugees, including Jordan.
We hope that the Jordanian government cooperate with the Iraqi delegates. They should pay attention to our suffering. It is very difficult for us to get permission to stay legally in the country, and our restricted movement prevents us from getting jobs. We are also not allowed to drive. I own a car, but I cannot renew my driving license, and therefore I can no longer drive my own car. We hope that the Iraqi delegates cooperate with the Jordanian authorities on this regard.
The Iraqi delegates had first visited the neighboring countries of Saudi Arabia and Iran to discuss security issues and ways to stop terrorist groups from infiltrating from and into Iraq. The visit of the Iraqi officials to Amman is not the first or the last. Meanwhile, both the Jordanians and the Iraqis are hoping to accomplish tangible results at the economic, political, and security levels. Al-Iraqiyya, Amman, Zinab Rashid.
خاصة على الواقع السياسي والاقتصادي والأمني. للعراقية من عمان زينب رشيد.
Polls opened across the country at 10 o'clock this morning as some 90,000 registered members of the Likud began voting in the party's leadership primaries. Incumbent Likud chairman Benjamin Netanyahu is running against two other contenders, Moshe Feiglin and Danny Danon. IBA's Leah Zinder brings us up to date from our Tel Aviv studio. Leah, has Netanyahu managed to stir up Likud members from their apathy concerning the primaries?
Laura, it does look as though the strenuous efforts of Likud chairman Benjamin Netanyahu over the past 48 hours may have paid off, partially at least according to the latest figure I have. Some 16% of voters have cast their ballots as of a few minutes ago, and there are still 6 hours to go before polls close. Netanyahu and his wife Sarah voted just before noon at the Jerusalem Convention Center. Netanyahu, justifiably I should say confident of victory against Feiglin and Danon, announced that his race for the premiership and for a new era of hope for the country begins today. But supporters of Moshe Feiglin, head of the far-right Jewish leadership faction, and Netanyahu's nemesis in this race, made their presence strongly felt at the convention center, where Feiglin himself voted a short time ago. Feiglin is a problem for Netanyahu and for the Likud, because if, as expected, his 10,000 signed-up supporters come out and give him a significant chunk of the vote, that will allow Kadima and Labour to paint the Likud as an extremist right-wing party in the next election, something Netanyahu is trying at all costs to avoid. So Netanyahu is at this hour still continuing his efforts to get voters out to the polls. Feiglin has spent much of the day drumming up support among his main power base. We just saw him, Jerusalem and the settlements, and as we saw, Feiglin went up to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem and prayed there, symbolizing his desire to build the third temple on the site.
Lebanese army helicopters have continued pounding Fatah Islam positions at the Nahr al-Bared Palestinian refugee camp. Meanwhile, clashes between the army and the Islamic militants are ongoing, and the army has surrounded the fighters, who are pinned down in underground shelters in a small section in the southern part of the camp. Follow this report. The Lebanese army helicopters pounded Fatah Islam positions at the Nahr al-Bared Palestinian refugee camp between 9 and 10 this morning, as heavy clashes continued between the army and the militants. The fighting was mostly concentrated around the southern part of the cooperative. Yesterday, a Lebanese soldier was killed in the clashes. The latest fighting comes after the Lebanese army on Sunday rejected a conditional offer of surrender by Fatah al-Islam and demanded that the militants give themselves up to stand trial. According to a new toll given Monday by the army, the soldier's death brought to 136 the number of troops killed at Nahr al-Barid camp since fighting between the army and Fatah al-Islam began on May 20th. The army said Fatah al-Islam fighters are pinned down in underground shelters in a small section in the southern part of the camp, which is entirely surrounded by the army. Meanwhile, an Islamic extremist leader said in an internet audio statement that some Fatah Islam militants besieged in Nahr al-Barid had escaped to plot further attacks. The US-based site intelligence group reported that Abu Jandal al-Dimashqi, leader of At-Tawheed wal-Jihad fi Sham, warned the, quote, apostate Lebanese Prime Minister Fouad al-Sanyura that, quote, some of the heroes of Fatah al-Islam have left the camp and now they are among you and have penetrated your lines, promising Sanyura of black days to come.
In Sidon, the Security Forces Intelligence Service arrested 5 members of Fatah al-Islam who were found with weapons and $5 million.
في صيدا تم توقيف 5 عناصر من تنظيم فتح الإسلام.
In Sidon, 5 members of Fatah al-Islam were apprehended with weapons, ammunition, and $5 million, as well as a computer. A security source said that 3 Lebanese and 2 Palestinians were arrested, identified so far as Yusuf and Yunus Khalid Shibli, Mahmoud Shaban, and Ismail al-Sayyid. The sources said that these individuals were arrested based on information provided by Jamal ad-Din Mustafa Mullas, who was arrested with Abu Huraira in Abu Samra in Tripoli. Specifically, forces from the intelligence service in Sidon and Beirut, with the backup from the Ministry of Interior Forces, raided the Malahs building in a Sidon neighborhood development and arrested the Shibli brothers. Shaban, who works at a grocery store, was arrested in eastern Sidon. As investigations continue with those arrested, their initial confessions indicate that they had a relationship with Abu Huraira and Mullas. Investigations are continuing to find out whether they had been involved in explosives, especially the explosive device in the Kafr Fallus area. The family of those arrested remain quiet, refusing to answer reporters' questions.
The residents of Bab Atabanya held a strike and set tires on fire, protesting the possibility that Abu Huraira's body will be buried in a graveyard in their area.
Protests have continued for the second consecutive day in the Bab Atabana area in Tripoli, as news spread about attempts to bury the body of Abu Huraira, or Shihab al-Qaddur, who is known as the second man in the Fatah al-Islam organization, in the Bab Atabana graveyard. During the evening, a number of residents of Bab Atabana set tires on fire on one of the main streets. The street was closed off for a while as they raised banners protesting, allowing the body of Abu Huraira to be buried in the area graveyard.
Abu Huraira is prohibited from entering our graveyard. Over my dead body, he slaughtered the army. His body must not enter this town. Over my dead body.
They should throw his body in a garbage dump and feed him to the dogs, because we don't want these types of people here.
Members of the Interior Security Forces intervened and reopened the street to cars and pedestrians.
A national holiday is underway in Pakistan to mark 60 years since the end of British rule. Fireworks, flag waving and military pomp are all on display as the country remembers the partitioning of August 14th, 1947.
Yes, some 14 million people moved across borders between India and the new state of Pakistan. It was one of history's largest mass migrations. Farid Barsoum has this report.
The night skies alight. At the stroke of midnight, fireworks explode their colors above Islamabad, marking the 60th anniversary of the founding of Pakistan, as well as the end of British rule in the Indian subcontinent. It's an occasion for pomp, circumstance, ceremony, the pride of a nation on full display. A chance for Pakistan's leaders to boast of their contributions to the country's success.
This nation now has the capabilities of meeting all challenges. I'm telling you with great conviction that over the past few years, Pakistan has developed in all areas. Our economy is strong. Life has never been better for our people.
Even the guards at a usually tense border crossing near Lahore were determined to show this was a special day. At a flag-raising ceremony, they had an offering for their Indian counterparts.
We want India to share our happiness, so we have offered them our traditional sweets.
But it's not just a day of celebration. It's also a day to remember the great human cost of the War of Secession with India. An honor guard lays a wreath at the tomb of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, regarded as the founding father of Pakistan, the one who refused Mahatma Gandhi's pleas to stay united with India. This Muslim nation is once again under military rule. A powerful force in the country and in the region. An occasion like this, an opportunity to put the military front and center. On national television, constant reminders of Pakistan's rich history and colorful heritage. While Pakistan may find itself in domestic political turmoil and in frequent disputes with its neighbors, this day will be one to celebrate achievement and look to the prospects of the future. Farid Barsoum, Al Jazeera.
Hi, I'm Jamal Dajani, producer of Mosaic, World News from the Middle East. Growing up as a Palestinian in Jerusalem, I became very aware of how powerful the media is. I learned at a young age that the information war between the Israeli and Arab broadcasters had life and death consequences, and the truth in either one is often hard to find. That's why I'm so proud to be part of Link TV. I have made more than 1,400 episodes of Mosaic and never had to censor anything because of threats from advertisers or corporate underwriters or the government. I urge you to call 1-866-485-8848 or log on to linktv.org now to keep Mosaic independent and on the air. Right now, Mosaic is in a funding crisis. We need to raise $200,000 in the next few months to keep this program on the air through the end of 2007. With your support, we can do it. I'm asking you to call Link TV now at 1-866-485-8848 or go to linktv.org and hit the support button on the home page. Every donation, big and small, matters. Even a small few dollars a month as a sustaining supporter will go a long way. You can decide on any amount and stop anytime. It's quick and easy at linktv.org. We've done our part. We've done the research, produced and aired the stories that filled the information gap in the media. Our archive holds hundreds of episodes available to educators, journalists, anyone who has ever asked themselves, what's the other side of that story? Now you need to do your part. Call 1-866-485-8848 and help us to continue our journalistic integrity. If you don't, who will? Without your support, we'll cease to exist. Sounds extreme, but that's the reality of a non-profit network. This isn't a pledge drive. I have no gift packages for you. I'm just asking you to spend your dollars on media that matters. This is your station. We cannot do it without you. If you think that uncensored, underreported stories from the Middle East are critical right now, then you know what to do. Call Link TV now, 1-866-485-8848. Make a tax-deductible contribution before the summer is over. Keep us honest. Thank you for watching and supporting Mosaic and Link TV.
Mosaic needs your support. Help us reach our goal to raise $200,000 by the end of the year to keep Mosaic on the air. Pledge your gift today at 1-866-485-8848 or linktv.org. Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.